Good evening. The regular meeting of the Independent School District 279 School Board is called to order at 6 p.m. on January 21st, 2025. This regular business meeting of the Osseo School Board is being conducted in the boardroom of the Educational Service Center. The meeting can be monitored electronically by streaming online from the district website. An archived recording of tonight's meeting will also be available on the district website. Seated in front of you this evening, from my left and your right, are Director Erica Foster. That's the wrong order. Director Kelsey Dawson.
We're all mixed up tonight, okay.
Then Director Erica Foster, Director Thomas Brooks, myself, Tanya Prince, Director Keith Tate, and Director Sarah Mitchell. Also present in the boardroom is Superintendent Dr. Kim Heil and members of the Superintendent's Cabinet. For the purpose of consistency of no activities for students due to the weather, our student board representatives will not be participating in this evening's meeting. Those of you who can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Foster, will you please lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members, are there any additions to the agenda? Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
So moved by Director Dawson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Brooks. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Our next standing agenda item is recognitions. We have no recognitions this evening. Our presentation planned for this evening, Charting New Waters, the CTA Journey at Park Center Senior High School, has been moved to our meeting agenda in February. Our next agenda item, student school board representatives. As we said, we look forward to our reports from our student school board representatives in February. Okay, the next agenda item is audience opportunity to address the board. I will review a few of the guidelines for those who will speak to the board as we get started. As a board, we welcome all voices and strive for public engagement and transparency in our board work. Public comment is one of many avenues to achieve this. Speakers will be called to the podium in this order: student, parent, staff, community member, and others. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the entire board, not to any individual board member. If you have a handout for the board, please place it on the information table or hand it to the board secretary, Sherry. The board secretary will provide copies to board members. The board and audience will listen and not respond back at this time. If you would like someone to follow up with you on your questions and/or comments, please let the board secretary know. Personnel concerns should be directed to the individuals in the following order: building principal, executive director for human resources, assistant superintendent, superintendent, and finally in writing to the school board. The complete guidelines for public participation are provided on the meeting materials table and on the school board section of the district website. When I call your name, please come to the microphone and state your name and topic and whether or not you are a district resident. Okay. Amy Jordan.
Speak here? Okay. My name is Amy Jordan, and I am here to advocate for my daughter Lila to attend Maple Grove Senior High School, and I am a district resident. Lila is currently slated to attend Osseo High School in the fall. She is a straight-A student, an aspiring writer, and a competitive wheelchair dancer. She has cerebral palsy and uses a power wheelchair. She also perseveres through sensory processing disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. She is a truly remarkable child who is here with me today. I am so proud of her for advocating for herself, as only she truly knows what she needs to meet her full academic potential. While both Osseo and Maple Grove Senior High Schools are both technically wheelchair accessible, the reality is that not all accessible environments are created equal. Osceo's original construction in 1924 relies heavily on retrofitted accommodations, which present challenges for Lila. For example, interior doors at Osseo are heavy and lack automatic openers, requiring significant physical effort to navigate. As a mother, I am hardwired to fear the worst, and in an emergency, such as a fire or other evacuation scenario, these barriers could delay her exit. The few accessible exterior doors are located near main exits and require additional steps or backtracking, which could increase her risk in a crisis. Maple Grove High School, on the other hand, was built in 1996 after the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act and with modern accessibility in mind. Examples include more automatic doors, wider hallways, and better designed emergency exit routes. These differences are not just conveniences. These are the kinds of things that non-disabled people like you and I never have to worry about. For Lila, they are critical for her to thrive, for her to focus on her academic pursuits, and for her to do so without undue stress. Lila's also looking forward to participating in musical theater. This aligns with her passions and goals. The theater at Osseo has just 4 wheelchair spaces and narrow aisles, while Maple Grove has 12 spaces and wide aisles. Again, these are the things that my 14-year-old has to think about. I want to be clear. Osseo High School is a wonderful school, and it is where I would choose to have Lila attend if it offered the same level of accessibility as Maple Grove High School does.
30 seconds.
My request to you today is about holding the district accountable to the law. In my handout, I have detailed Minnesota Statute Section 125A.08, which states that students with disabilities must have access to extracurricular and academic opportunities in the least restrictive environment. Denying Lila access to attend school in Maple Grove is denying her access to attend school in the least restrictive environment. Those of you who have family or friends with kids like Lila know that we will fight both tooth and nail to ensure our kids get what they need. Every day, we deal with barriers large and small. Will there be handicapped parking so that Lila can exit our vehicle safely? Will her school be staffed with enough ESPs to provide her with the support she needs? Will her teachers continue to honor her IEP? Today, we are faced with a new challenge. Will the school district where we live provide disabled students the access to academic programming and opportunity in a way that best suits the individual needs of that student? The district has made its decision, but the board today has a choice: to live up to the standards set by the law, which requires individualized solutions for students with disability, or to apply uniform policies to solutions that are far from uniform. I urge you to reconsider the decision, and thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Lila Jader.
Good evening. My name is Lila, and I'm really excited about starting high school. I've always loved school, and I work really hard because I want to go to college and become a writer someday and start my own business. I also do competitive wheelchair dance in Maple Grove, and I love theater and music. I use a power wheelchair because I have cerebral palsy. While Osseo High School, Senior High is accessible, there's a big difference between what is technically accessible and what's actually easier to use. At Maple Grove, I wouldn't have to worry as much about heavy doors, older, narrower hallways, or tricky exits. At my most recent IEP meeting, it was decided that I no longer need full-time ESP support. I am up for the challenge of navigating more of my day independently, but I need an environment that supports that independence, not one that makes it harder. Navigating my day often depends on someone else's availability. Given the right environment, I actually am quite independent. My teachers and current ESPs could tell you just how far I have come and the success they see in my future. But again, the right environment is key. My cerebral palsy already impacts my energy levels and Dealing with accessibility barriers can be frustrating and exhausting, both physically and emotionally. I don't want to spend my time and energy worrying about how to navigate a crowded hallway or exit safely in an emergency. I want to focus on my schoolwork, my friends, and my goals. This decision is about my dignity, independence, and equality. It's about giving me the same opportunity to fully participate and succeed as every other student. The law says I deserve to be educated in the least restrictive environment, and for me, that's Maple Grove Senior High. I'm asking the district to reconsider and give me the chance to start this new chapter in the right environment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us. Our next agenda item is the superintendent's report. Dr. Heil.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Prince, Vice Chair Brooks, and the school board members. I thank each of you for your commitment in coming out on such a cold night. It's appreciated, as well as the cabinet and Sherry and Ashton. So as we meet this evening, I would like to provide just more information on attendance boundary changes that will begin in the fall of 2026. And this process will be using one of our district's district system leadership tools will help us to support Osceola schools becoming a human-centered culture. So holding space is a tool which ensures we take the time to ensure all stakeholders are valued and heard. As we enter into the work around potential boundary changes with transparency and a need for input from our stakeholders as the final decisions are made. So you are needed and you are important. So I just want to take some time again to share information of what we're doing in regards to attendance boundary changes. So just as a reminder, attendance boundary change proposals were shared online on Tuesday of last week. 4 scenarios were presented there. Almost 12,000 community members have visited the attendance boundary website since that time. Our first community informational meeting was also held last week on Wednesday, and we will have another informational meeting scheduled for this Thursday at 5:45 p.m. at Maple Grove Middle School. Please note that this is just the beginning of a several-week community engagement process. We're at the bolded part of the timeline that, as you can see on the PowerPoint. So it is very important for you to share your voice during this time, as it will help our team make potential adjustments. I'll talk about the ways you can share this feedback in just a minute. So the school board expected to finalize new attendance boundaries by this May, then they'll go into effect of September of 2026. So our boundaries website has a plethora of information. So if you're wondering if your household is impacted by any of the 4 proposals, you can just type your address onto these 4 web pages. There are also maps online to assist you with this. There's over 30 frequently asked questions are also available to view on the website. Our goal is to be transparent and give you as much information as possible as what is needed. The website address to access all of this is at district279.org/boundaries. So as I mentioned earlier, we're at that very important feedback portion of our timeline. So please make an intentional effort to share your thoughts on the 4 proposed scenarios. You can do so at the community informational meeting on Thursday at Maple Grove Middle School or via the online form on the website. And the QR code here is a direct link to that online form. So we have heard from 600 community members to date. So please consider sharing. We want to ensure all voices are valued and heard. We value each and every one of you. You are all part of our Osceola Schools family, and this understandably can be a challenging change. So just to note, Thursday's meeting will also be live streamed. You can watch that presentation portion as it happens, or you can view the recording at a different time if that works better for your schedule. Then if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to fill out the online form. Again, we need your feedback. All your feedback, whether via the group or online form, will be reviewed by our team in the next coming weeks. Adjustments will likely be made as a result of all of our meetings and input. New proposed scenarios are expected to be shared by March. So at that time, you'll once again have an opportunity to provide the district with more feedback. So here are multiple ways to stay informed during this process. Just refer to the district279.org/boundaries for the latest update again. Parents and caregivers can stay tuned to regular updates via email and text. All our community members can also connect with these hotlines to build a better future at district279.org or at the following phone number, 763-391-8990. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, we thank you for your help with making these needed changes the best that they can be, and once again, we need your input. Okay, so regular part of our superintendent's report is to share points of pride of our district. By sharing points of pride, we're taking time to recognize and celebrate the scholars, our staff, and community members who are contributing to the accomplishments of our mission, which is to inspire and prepare each and every scholar with the confidence, courage, and competence to achieve their dreams, contribute to community, and engage in a lifetime of learning. So I have members of our district cabinet here to assist in sharing some examples from the last month. Thank you.
In the area of achieving dreams, 6 district senior high school students have been honored for their dedication to academics, athletics, and the arts with the AAA award for 2025. The winners include 2 students from each of the district's 3 comprehensive senior high schools. This year's winners are Juna Kong and Jacob Robinek from Maple Grove Senior High, Brennan Krantz and Emily Wong from Osseo Senior High, Ben Marshall and Abigail Safak from Park Center. The Media Center at Cedar Island Elementary School is a place of learning, books, and rock music. On the evening of December 17th, 18 4th and 5th graders in the Modern Band took over the Media Center to put on a show for their families and friends. Modern Band is an extracurricular activity for students at Cedar Island, organized and led by music specialist Stephen Wolf and physical education teacher Michael Francello. The band offers a way for students to immerse themselves in music that is of their musical vernacular, but isn't traditionally honored in the academic musical setting, making music fun, relevant, and real for students. In the days leading up to winter break, multiple schools hosted concerts and sing-alongs, including Park Brook, Fair Oaks, Fernbrook, Birch Grove, and Osseo Senior High School. 5th graders at Elm Creek Elementary spent the last 14 weeks participating in the Drug Abuse Resistance Education, or DARE, program with the Maple Grove Police Department. And they held a ceremony January 10th to celebrate the program's completion with family and friends. The ceremony started with opening remarks from Officer Slauson, the DARE officer from Maple Grove Police Department, who worked with the students throughout the program. Chief Eric Warner was also in attendance to congratulate students and help hand out their certificates. Robotics teams from across the district recently put their skills and determination to the test at 2 major tournaments. Maple Grove Senior High School, ISD 279, and Park Center Senior High School competed in the first Tech Challenge FTC tournaments graciously hosted by Maple Grove Senior High Crimson Robotics, while Osseo Senior High School showcased their talent at the VEX Robotics Granite City High School Stakes Tournament. Congratulations to all these talented students.
In the area of contributing to community, staff members at the Osseo Area Learning Center, or OALC, and 279 Online have recently taken an active approach to championing recycling efforts, earning them a free park bench to be placed on site at the OALC for collecting and recycling 1,000 pounds or 81,000 items, plastic wet bags, within a year. Jesse Huff Larson, who led the effort, said, "We are trying to instill the recycling mindset in kids going forward so they can go out in the world and teach the world to do better." Before the winter break, students at Osseo Middle School worked with the American Indian Education Culture and Language Specialist Jill Lindell to learn about how many indigenous cultures, including Ojibwe and Dakota, blankets are given to honor someone that they may feel the collective warmth and embrace of their family, friends, and community. Their Ojibwe word of the day was Wabuya Niked, or she or he makes a blanket. Students at Osseo Middle worked together to make 2 fleece tie blankets that were later smudged and donated to a homeless shelter that serves the Native community so that their unsheltered relatives may feel the warmth and embrace of the Native community at Osseo Middle. In the area of lifelong learning, the day before winter break, the halls at Rush Creek Elementary were filled with cheers, joy, and jingle bells as students participated in an all-school bingo. The students decorated their own boards, choosing where to put each item. Each classroom joined the Google Meet for a few rounds of bingo, with the winners ringing jingle bells and claiming their prizes in the hallway. Birch Grove School of the Arts offers elective art offerings as part of their students' regular specialist rotation. The school's students recently showed off their elective artwork during showcase events. Some of this year's elective options included stop-motion video creation, yoga, and a nail art studio. Equipped with icing, candy, and plenty of imagination, students across the district celebrated the last few weeks before the holiday break by decorating gingerbread houses, including students at Elm Creek, Fernbrook, Parkbrook, and Rush Creek Elementary Schools.
CCX Media recently featured Park Center Senior High School's Mariah Pa, who is a full international baccalaureate student and has entered a full ride scholarship to Stanford University. Pa told CCX, "Since its senior year, I've been thinking back on how I've grown and how this school has helped me grow. I've been here my whole life. I think I just want to expand and grow somewhere." Students at Enbrook Elementary School got an introduction to coding last week when they participated in a coding activity in the Media Center with Library Media Specialist Valerie Jeffrey. The students broke into teams, taking on their roles of material manager, information specialist, and drivers. They used the coded cards to figure out which color tiles did what acts, including driving, slowing down, stopping, turning left and right, and spinning in a circle. They then built tracks using the colored tiles to make the cars follow the track. They will continue to build their coding skills using the cars as the school year progresses. Students in all grades at Basswood Elementary School kicked off their Kids Heart Challenge on January 9th, sponsored by the American Heart Association. The Kids Heart Challenge aims to educate students on the importance of heart health and raise money for efforts to improve heart health. To get students pumped up, the Double Dutch team from Parkbrook Elementary School performed, showing off individual and partner tricks and inviting Basswood staff to try their hand at jumping. During the kickoff, students also learned what their heart looks like and why it is important, and how to keep their hearts healthy by eating fruits and vegetables, drinking water, getting a good night's sleep, avoiding tobacco and vaping, and getting in movement. 2 Minneapolis fire chiefs visited Brooklyn Park STEAM School shortly before winter break began to share about their career and fire safety with students during a STEAM Explorers class, where BMS students can sign up to learn more about different careers from local professionals. "I'm living my childhood dream," Fire Chief David Carson said. "I wouldn't trade it for anything. Helping people is really where I found my purpose." Park Center Senior High School's latest career panel focuses on many different ways that students can pursue careers related to sports, such as sales, human resources, coaching, sports technology, and more.
Students in community education's Kids Stop at Oakview Elementary School and Basswood Elementary School didn't let winter break stop them from having fun as they participated in a bowling field trip on December 27th. The crash of bowling pins and cheers from the students echoed through the alley at Sundance Bowl as the students put their skills to the test. The trip was filled with laughter and friendly competition. Fourth graders at Elm Creek Elementary School recently had the opportunity to visit the Eastman Nature Center to learn important winter survival skills. Students learned what they would need to survive if they were stranded outdoors and how to build a shelter and a fire. In the area of mission-driven employees, each day the dedicated transportation department at Osseo area schools works to get students to and from school safely despite the rain, snow, and ice so common in Minnesota. One key member of the transportation team is Jim Greeley, Assistant Director of Transportation, who was recently featured as a staff spotlight. My favorite thing about my job is how the service we provide in transportation benefits families and students, Greeley said. We can get caught up in the day-to-day grind of our jobs and it can be frustrating, but when it all comes down to it, what we do is pretty impactful, helping students get to and from school safely. Check out the full staff spotlight on the district website. Heidi Stodela, instrumental music teacher at Osseo Middle School, presented at the Midwest Clinic, an international band and orchestra convention held annually in Chicago on December 20th. Stodela and presenting partner Laura Goucher from Matamidi gave the same building teamwork in a large ensemble classroom and what to do when things go wrong presentation last year at the Minnesota Music Education Convention to a standing room only crowd. Through the presentation in Chicago this December, they have now received invitations to speak at several other state conventions. 2 staff members recently received statewide recognition for contributions to community education programs. The Minnesota Community Education Association recently recognized Carrie Cabe, Osseo Area Schools Director of Community Engagement, for her remarkable 4 years of service on its board of directors. During her tenure on the board, Cabe held several leadership roles, including treasurer, president-elect, president and past president, leaving a lasting impact on community education statewide. Nancy Johnson, program manager for Osseo Area Schools Adult Basic Education, has been named the 2024 recipient of the Eichinger Volunteer Engagement Award. This honor, presented by Literacy Minnesota, recognizes professionals who demonstrate vision, diligence, and commitment to integrating volunteers into literacy programs. Thank you both for all of your work.
Thank you. A few final notes and reminders for this evening. We have some great upcoming events open to our families and to our community members. So join us for the 2nd annual FACE Black History Month celebration on Saturday, February 1st of 2025 from 1:30 to 4:30 at Park Center Senior High School. Enjoy free food, a live DJ, a showcase, and the support BIPOC-owned businesses. We also highly encourage everyone to join us for the District 279 Foundation on Friday, February 7th at 5:30 p.m. And this will be held at Edinburgh U.S. Golf Course for a night out, benefiting District 279 Foundation Grants Program. Learn more and register on the district website. Also, you can join Osseo Area Schools in partnership with Brooklyn Park Recreation and Parks on Thursday, February 20th for the 3rd annual All Abilities Resource Fair. This free open house includes exhibitions and information for individuals with disability-related needs, families, and caregivers. Last but not least, I'm sounding like a broken record today, but I want to encourage our preschool, elementary, and middle school families to participate in our attendance boundary change process taking place right now. Once again, details are online at district279.org/boundaries. You also will find a feedback form on that site. That is open until February 7th. And round 1's final community informational meeting is being held Thursday, once again, at Maple Grove Middle in the cafe there at 5:45. So please make sure to RSVP online if you wish to plan to attend. And of course, you can learn more about all of these events at our district website. Thank you, and that concludes tonight's superintendent report.
Thank you, Dr. Howe.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is school board reports. Director Dawson, do you have a report or update?
I have a few. I'm sitting on the Association for Metropolitan School District group, and so we had the legislative preview a couple of Fridays ago. So it was really good, and they're very much centering, keeping students at the center of all of their legislative priorities, and our district is a member. And then I attended the Minnesota School Board Association conference, and I just wanted to highlight, it was really great. One of the sessions I went to, Park Center's Anthony Turner presented on Park Center's innovative ways that they are addressing chronic absenteeism. It was really well attended. A lot of people were very interested to look and understand what Park Center is doing and some of the ways that they're addressing truancy. And then finally on Monday, yesterday, I was able to attend with Osseo School District the Martin Luther King breakfast, and it's always just a good time to, it's always inspiring and a way to honor Dr. King's legacy around justice and what that means to us. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Director Foster, do you have a reporter update?
I do not.
Okay. Director Brooks?
No reports?
Okay. Director Tate?
No, nothing for me.
Director Mitchell?
I don't tonight, but we had our new assignments at our last work session, so
Yep.
I'm sure we'll all have a report.
Yeah. And I do have a brief report. I did have the Joint Power Board for the Northwest Suburban Integration School District, and they had their organizational meeting as well. Covered the year-end audit, and had some policy reviews, though there were no changes. Okay. All right, our next agenda item is a presentation on bid awards for several elementary sites and the ESC. John Morstead, Executive Director of Finance and Operations, will present the information.
Okay, thank you, Chair Prince. So this is one of the fun things that we get to present. So as we have been working our way through the Build a Better Future process, we've moved out of a lot of design elements and into finally getting bid documents in, and part of the presentation today is kind of showing you what some of the changes that we are proposing, either with new buildings or changes to existing buildings, will look like. And then in the consent agenda, we're asking the school board to approve bids that we've received on all of these particular projects. So the buildings that we're going to talk about projects for today are the new elementary school in Maple Grove, Oakview Elementary, Woodland Elementary, Rush Creek Elementary, Basswood Elementary, and the Educational Service Center Maintenance Edition. So I'm going to give you an idea of what all those, the renderings of what those new either renovations to the existing elementaries or what the new elementary will look like. I'm not going to show the ESC because we're just adding a box onto the warehouse. So the first picture you're looking at is a site plan of the new elementary school. And for those of you that don't know the location of this site, it's in Northwest Maple Grove and they just changed the names of the roads. So I'm going to give you the old names and then the new ones. It was the corner of Troy Lane and 101st, which has been changed to Arbor Ridge Parkway and soon to be Stieg Road. If you know where the Hindu temple is that's located up there, it's just about a block south of that. So just to give you a quick configuration of what the school looks like, the school's about 139,000 square feet. It will hold about 1,100 pre-K through 5 students with full capacity. So main entrance is coming in off Arbor Ridge Parkway. That'll be on the right side of this, and then bus entry coming off Stieg Road around the back, with field use to the south, and then there's actually quite a bit of acreage that still goes to the north into a forest and wetland area where we'll have some outdoor classrooms and just nice green space up in that area. Give you a look at the main front entryway. And I'm going to just kind of go through a bunch of the pictures. I'll tell you what they are, but we'll just kind of roll through them real quick. Just another view as you're driving in of the front. This is a unique elementary in that this is Osseo's first 2-story elementary school. So it does have a main level and an upper level. This is the student entry in the on the bus loop side. And then this is, once you come in the main building, this is kind of the crossroads inside the building. So this is the point where you would either go to your left down towards the gymnasiums, the cafeterias in front of you, or to your right to the media center and learning studios. A view of the cafeteria. We've really taken the opportunity to let natural light be a huge foundation of this particular building. There is a natural theme that you'll see a lot of what feels like kind of trees built into the architecture within the site. Here's a view of the outside patio around the cafeteria area. There are actually also 3 patios that sit outside the 3 lower learning studios that are a learning patio. So it's kind of like an impromptu outdoor classroom where we have formal outdoor classrooms a little farther out towards the woods and prairie area. As you continue down the hall, you come to the media center. So you have, again, a lot of natural light that is let in here. And this is where you're going to branch and the building goes up to the 2-story portion. Another view of the media center from up above looking down. And then we move into the learning studio. So there are 6 different learning studios. Each learning studio has 6 classrooms and a number of breakout spaces, an actual like office space for the teachers so they can office separately from where their learning studio is. A mudroom, so the kids have a place to put boots, coats, all those things separate from the classrooms. They all have their own bathroom suite to go with it. And then a kind of a common central area out front, and we can potentially open up and close depending on the needs of whatever those classes are doing at the time. So there's one of these for each grade level. The only one that's slightly different is kindergarten, where the rooms are just a little bit larger for the little small kiddos. This is a little bit of a distance view from outside, but also kind of a look at that one of those learning patios outside looks like. And then this is a view, if you went down to the other end, this is half of the gymnasium space. So this gym space is 4 elementary size courts, or that can be converted into 2 full-size high school basketball courts. Now I'm going to move into some of the current elementary schools where we're doing renovations to the media center and adding some flex room spaces. So this, and I'm not showing pictures of every one of them because a lot of them are very similar, or they've done some minor architectural tweaks where some have used, you know, a triangle or a rectangle as their primary just descriptive piece. Others have used more arches, you know, so they're very similar in general concept, just a few tweaks that we allowed each of the buildings to customize to their own needs. So this is the Edinbrook Media Center as you're coming in. They all have a bit of kind of this hallway entry feel with an opening, and that room to the left is actually a maker studio, and I'll show you another picture of it here. But here's a good example of kind of the opened media area. Similar feel into Basswood, but you'll see some of the changes, different geometric shapes to it, but again, you kind of feel the similarities. Oakview and Rush Creek actually chose the same design, so they went more to a square. Oops, did that advance? And then they wanted their circulation desk to be in the middle and work around it. So we again gave them that flexibility to make the decision that was best for their building, still meeting all the needs that the district had established. Here's a look at Fernbrook, where you're getting a little more of that arch to it, just bringing in a rounded appeal that school preferred. Fernbrook, Woodland have kind of a similar, more of a peninsula circulation desk. And then here's your other geometric shapes in those same schools. Here's an example of that maker space. It's very flexible. We can do a lot of things with it. Lots of opportunities for different classes that can be brought in and taught in these areas. And this is a good example of what a flex space looks like, and then we have a second one also in the buildings as well. Just to give you an idea, every one of our elementaries and middle schools that don't have them today are getting an outdoor classroom added. So within the bids for these elementaries include outdoor classrooms. So just some examples of what some of those pictures look like. This is the Woodland outdoor classroom model of what they're planning to do. So you have a variety of things here for a full class space, even some small little meeting group areas, a bit of a nook, a potential water feature. I think they wanted a dry creek bed in this particular case. And then there's some sails to kind of create a little natural shade when you're out there if it happens to be a warmer day or just bright. Here's more of a look at what Rush Creek looks like. And they actually have a kind of a smaller one here and a little secondary one that's a little bit more in the woods. So again, the opportunities for each building to customize based on what their site provides. And that's it for the slides. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
Board members, questions or comments? It's really exciting to see it come to life, and one of the things I'm always reminded when you're sharing about renovations, and we show some of them, when we think about across the system, we're elevating all of our sites. I know we've talked before about the selection of finishes, making sure that all of the sites have the same quality and level of finishes to select from. So it always sticks in my mind when we're seeing some of them.
Yeah, and it's a great point. There's like we're doing brand new furniture in all K-12 classrooms, and it's not really a great picture to throw up what brand new furniture looks like, but it is rolling out across the system. It is definitely needed. We're trying to either recycle, sell, or donate off the old furniture that we have. And obviously there's some pieces that we've gotten that are relatively new, so we can keep those and mix them in. But at the same time, I think we've already done 4 or 5 schools and are adding another 10 this summer. So the total furniture package is in the kind of mid $20 million range in order to do furniture across our entire district, but it is very needed, and we're excited as we slowly roll that forward. And we learn through the process and make little tweaks to make it get better and better as we go, and reach back to the schools that we're very, we were blessed to have some schools willing to be the guinea pig and pilot a few things up front, so we want to make sure we reach back to some of those schools and make sure that if we did make an improvement that they didn't have, that we can offer it and get that blended in. So far, all these projects that I can tell you through today that we're asking you to approve as a collective, plus ones we've done before, are on budget. So we're real happy to say that. Keep your fingers crossed for things going forward, but again, I think we're financially in a really good place so far, and more pieces to come.
Okay, thank you. The next agenda item is our consent agenda. Board members, our consent agenda items this evening include meeting minutes and financial reports from December 2024, organizational meeting minutes, extended educational trip, personnel items, grants, the annual radon report, a bid award for refuse and recycling, construction bid approvals, and approval of the district's property insurance carrier. Are there any items that you would like to remove for separate consideration? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed?
So moved.
So moved by Director Mitchell. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Dawson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we only have one action item this evening, and that is approval of gifts to the district. Wow, see, it's year end.
I'm just a
Wow. Okay, we have gifts to the district this month of $227,040.84. That is amazing. That's amazing. We always say thank you so much to all of our partners who support us in many different ways and avenues of giving. With that, is there a motion to approve gifts to the district totaling $227,040.84?
So moved.
So moved by Director Brooks. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Director Foster. Any discussion? All right, again, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Our next agenda item is informational items. This evening, we have several policies up for first reading. Information will be shared by General Counsel Amy Moore. Amy.
Thank you. So these policies will be read for the first time tonight, will be posted for the next 30 days, and we'll have a second reading at the next general meeting. So if there's any comment, members of the public can provide that through our website at that time, during that time. So the first policy is 404, family and medical leave for school district employees. Just a couple of changes to clarify eligibility and qualifying reasons for FMLA. Also clarifying that spouses who work for the district are entitled to combined total of 26 weeks of leave in a 12-month period. So really a matter of some clarifications in the policy for FMLA. I'll just pause and then I'll keep going. Policy 420 is the next one, students and employees with communicable diseases and infectious conditions. We are proposing no updates to the policy, but for the procedure on that 420, we did clarify a few things related to that we will comply with Minnesota statute regarding immunizations. And then clarifying that eye drainage by itself is not something that we send kids home for by itself, which was a good update. And then referenced N95 masks in the procedure. Procedures are not something you vote on, but because they're tied to policy, I'd just like to let you know when we do those updates. Next policy, policy 427, workload limits for certain special education teachers. For this one, what we did is we took the definitions and moved them into the policy to make it clear. They were in procedures, and it just made sense to move that into policy and have it be one. So for policy 442, travel, the proposed edits that we have, again, are more clarification regarding the purpose and the general statement of the policy, and then to update to reference taxi or rideshare service, since we use more rideshare service. And then we, for procedure 442 on travel, we are removing that procedure because we want to guide staff to the guidelines that are on our website, because that's where they'll find forms and the process, rather than having it in the procedure. That makes it more flexible. Okay, policy 705, investments. The language that you'll see in these 700 policies were meant to align the district statute with Minnesota School Boards Association. Our staff, in looking at it, felt like that the MSBA policies were in line with what we were doing. It's nice to use MSBA policies because they are reviewed and updated regularly, and so it makes things fairly consistent as well. So for investments, that's the language for scope and purpose and the general statement of the policy. And then clarifying the, in maintaining the public's trust, that all officials and employees are part of the investment process, acting professionally and responsibly, for policy 705. You'll see more updates in the procedure regarding the expectations for ethics and the general standard of conduct of what a prudent person standard is. That's in line with what you'll see generally out there in the business world. We do talk about some changes to monitoring and adjusting investments and what that means. There were some questions at the policy meeting regarding whether we use or should we be using third parties. And in fact, our staff do consult with investment advisors, with Mintrust and Prudent Man Advisors Financial Network. There are several conversations that happen throughout a month as they are looking at investments and what they should do, when we buy, what's available, how should we invest. So there is constant communication with these external agencies to make sure that what we're doing is what's in the best interest of the district. And like I said, you'll just see it's a long procedure because there's lots of different details, obviously, with investments of what are qualified institutions and broker deals, but what we are doing is reducing redundancy and then making everything in line with what you'll see in Minnesota School Boards Association policy. All right, I will keep it going. Policy 706, again, this is investments for other post-employment benefits trust. Much of the same updates that you'll see in that policy, making some consistency, but also in line with what you will see in Minnesota School Boards Association for the scope and purpose. Again, talking about, maintaining public's trust, about our expectations of all officials and employees that are part of these processes. And then similarly, for the procedure 706, you will see a bit more of the updates regarding our process. There were some questions at the policy meeting about, routinely and goes to the board. You'll see as part of tonight's meeting in the agenda, that monthly report that the board gets on our finances. There was some question about the investment officer in the standard of conduct. Again, with a reference to should there be a third party. This is similar to what I explained in the other policy, that there's constant communication with the Mintrust and the other agency to make sure that everything that we're doing is in line and checked and in the best interests of the district. So the next policy, 722, is policy on public data and data subject requests. Much of the policy was fine. What I did add was, you will see section J, an individual subject of the data may contest accuracy of data that we hold as a public institution. So that was just information that has been always a part of the statute, but wasn't necessarily in this policy, and I felt it would be good to include that information in the policy. It's consistent with what you'll see in the School Boards Association and other policies as well.
I do have a question about that one.
I'm sorry. I cannot tell where sound comes from, obviously.
So I know, and so, you know, I think it makes sense, and it sounds like it's, you know, you mentioned MSBA and just the changes in state law. I do know that, you know, just to note that AMSD and I think MSBA are looking, kind of exploring different proposals around to support school districts in managing kind of the increasing costs of these data requests. And so I was just curious if there's been, I don't think there's been anything drafted or anything, but I know that the last couple of sessions they've looked into that.
So yes, there has been, this isn't the first go-round of public entities in general, but school districts in particular with other state agencies. You'll have a whole department that's all they do is data requests, and even they are struggling with public data requests. And with school boards, school districts in particular, there's been quite a rise in requests, because requests can come anywhere. You do not have a name attached to it, and sometimes they're pretty broad. So yes, the different agencies are kind of looking to see if we can put some expectations, parameters around it to make it more, to make it so that school districts can still be transparent in what they do, but not necessarily be so overwhelmed, because there are districts that are spending even like months and years on one data request, and it can be quite costly. And often those requests are coming from out of the state. So yes, but I haven't heard anything in particular. It's always the transparency versus, you know, the burden on the school district.
Thank you.
Yep. So, policy 730 is fund balance. The updates you will see is, you know, scope and purpose and the general statement and the clarification of the definitions to update them so they are consistent with what you see in the rest of the policies and Minnesota School Board's policies. So there was one question in policy committee about the minimum fund balance being 5%, and a question of should it be more. And, you know, in talking with our experts, they felt that 5% was the appropriate fund balance to have. In the procedure, you will just see, versus using the unappropriated designation, it's been updated to unassigned, and referencing food and nutrition. So clarifications on the procedure. Then with policy 731, post-issuance debt policy, debt compliance policy, not much of a change except some of the titles being capitalized, not capitalized. That was more style, which again you'll see in the procedure is you'll see more style updates. And then policy 740, Electronic signatures is our last policy for tonight. This was a policy that was new last year, so that we could have an official policy on that we do accept electronic signatures. This has been helpful for our community ed department, but then we've been able to use it with other the district purposes as well. It was just updated last year, new, so there are no proposed updates at this time. And that is it.
All right, thank you. And as you stated earlier, there's a period of time between now and the second reading at the next board meeting, and lots of opportunity to share input, feedback through the website for the public. Okay. Any other questions or comments, board members?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to General Counsel Moore, not just for thoroughly explaining the changes for each of the policies, but also referencing what we discussed in policy committee. I think it's helpful to refresh my memory of what we talked about, but also like board members that don't get to go to those meetings. So thank you, for that.
And on that note, the meetings are open to the public, so anybody in the public can come and join us and listen to all of the great discussion on all those amazing policies. All right. Okay, at this time, there will not be a closed negotiation strategy session this evening, so our final item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the regular business meeting at 6:56 p.m.?
So moved.
Moved by Director Thomas Brooks. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Mitchell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. The meeting is adjourned.
Wow, 100 hours.